My name is Maxwell Hunter. 10 years ago, that call led me deep into the Amazon, a place where the air hangs heavy with secrets and the earth pulses with untamed life. I was part of an expedition, a motley crew of explorers, each driven by their own desires. We were there to uncover the unknown, to stake our claim in a world untouched by time. My search led me to a dimly lit bar on the fringes of civilization, a place where whispers traveled further than words. There I met Rodriguez, a man whose eyes held the shadows of the jungle itself. Despite the unease that gnawed at my gut, I struck a deal with Rodriguez. The jungle awoke with a cacophony of sound, a chorus of buzzing, chirping, and howling that reverberated through the humid air. Rodriguez moved through the jungle with an almost preternatural grace, his footsteps silent on the forest floor. He spoke little, but his eyes, dark and watchful, seemed to absorb every detail of our surroundings. The deeper we ventured into the jungle, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The trees loomed over us, their branches intertwined, forming a dense canopy that blocked out the sun. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that unseen eyes followed our every move. Days blurred into nights, each one seemingly hotter and more humid than the last. The jungle was a labyrinth, a tangled web of vegetation that seemed to stretch on endlessly. One evening, as the sun began its fiery descent, we stumbled upon a clearing. In the center, almost completely swallowed by the relentless jungle, lay the ruins. With the discovery of the ruins, a sense of anticipation settled over the camp. The archaeologists in our group were eager to begin their work, to unlock the secrets held within those ancient stones. The biologists marveled at the diversity of life, collecting specimens of exotic plants and insects. That night, we celebrated our find with a simple meal around a crackling fire. As the fire died down and the others drifted off to sleep, I found myself unable to shake a growing sense of unease. And as the darkness deepened, a chilling certainty crept over me. We had stumbled into something far more dangerous than we could have ever imagined. The jungle's symphony had transformed into a cacophony of chaos. Gunfire ripped through the humid air, shattering the stillness of the night. Screams, raw and filled with terror, echoed through the dense foliage, sending chills down my spine. My mind reeled, struggling to grasp the situation, my senses overloaded with the sights and sounds of a nightmare. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat urging me forward. Ignoring the dizziness that threatened to pull me under, I moved cautiously towards the source of the commotion, my senses on high alert. A glint of silver caught my eye, a beacon against the verdant backdrop. My rucksack lay, discarded, on the jungle floor, its contents scattered around it, like offerings to some unseen god. Terror, primal and instinctive, surged through me. My mind screamed at me to run, to escape the nightmare unfolding before me, but my feet seemed rooted to the spot, frozen by the sheer horror of the sight. I was caught in a spider's web, a fly ensnared in a predator's trap, my every movement only tightening the silken strands around me. Desperation clawed at me, urging me to break free from this nightmare. But the more I fought, the more entangled I became. With a shaking hand, I flicked open the lighter, the familiar click of the mechanism echoing like a gunshot in the stillness of the jungle. The tiny flame, a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness, danced in the humid air, casting grotesque shadows on the surrounding trees. With a desperate prayer, I touched the flame to the web, the silk igniting with a hiss and a crackle. The flames, fueled by the dry silk, spread quickly, racing along the strands like liquid fire. The flames danced and swirled, casting an eerie glow on the surrounding jungle. The spiders retreated, forming a pulsating circle just beyond the reach of the flames. Their multiple eyes, gleaming like malevolent stars in the flickering light of the flames, were fixed on me, their gaze cold, calculating, filled with an intelligence that sent shivers down my spine. I realized then that I hadn't escaped their trap, merely redefined its boundaries. My gaze darted around, desperately seeking an escape route. The dense foliage and the oppressive darkness made it nearly impossible to find a way out. The spiders had formed a near-perfect circle, their glowing eyes tracking my every move. It was as if they were communicating, plotting their next move in unison. I was trapped, caged within a ring of fire and fear, the jungle closing in on me with every passing second. The heat was unbearable, and the smoke made it hard to breathe. Then, through the haze of panic, I noticed it. A tiny glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. A gap in the circle, small, almost imperceptible, but enough. It was a sliver of a chance, a narrow path to potential freedom. It was a risky move, a desperate gamble, but it was my only chance. My heart pounded in my chest as I prepared to make my move. With a surge of adrenaline, I lunged towards the opening, my muscles straining with the effort, the flames licking at my heels, acrid smoke stinging my eyes. Every step felt like a battle against the elements. I could feel the spiders' eyes on me, could almost sense their surprise at my sudden movement. Their reaction was almost palpable, a mix of confusion and anger. But I didn't hesitate, couldn't afford to. My survival depended on my speed and determination. I burst through the gap, ignoring the searing pain of thorns tearing at my skin, the sharp branches clawing at me like desperate hands. The sickening crunch of unseen insects beneath my feet added to the surreal horror of the moment. The jungle floor seemed to tilt beneath me, a disorienting shift that made every step a challenge. The trees swaying in a dizzying dance, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. I stumbled, my vision blurring, my lungs burning with exhaustion and fear. Each breath was a struggle, each step a test of my willpower. But I couldn't stop. Not now, not when freedom, however tenuous, lay within reach. The thought of escape fueled my weary body, pushing me forward through the nightmare. I crashed through the undergrowth, driven by a primal instinct to escape the web of terror that had ensnared me. Every step was a desperate attempt to put distance between myself and the unseen horrors that pursued me. Thorns tore at my clothes, leaving bloody trails across my skin. But I didn't dare slow down, not with the chilling memory of those glowing eyes burned into my mind. Each scratch was a reminder of the jungle's relentless grip, a testament to the peril that lurked in every shadow. The air, thick and heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying vegetation, offered no solace, only a suffocating reminder of the jungle's suffocating embrace. The humidity clung to my skin, making every breath a laborious task, as if the very atmosphere conspired to slow my escape. My lungs screamed for air, my legs ached with exertion, but I pushed myself onward, fueled by a cocktail of adrenaline and terror. The pounding of my heart echoed in my ears, a relentless drumbeat that matched the frantic rhythm of my flight. The forest floor seemed to rise and fall beneath my feet, the trees swaying in a macabre dance, as if the jungle itself conspired against my escape. Each step was a gamble, the uneven terrain threatening to send me sprawling at any moment. I tripped over gnarled roots, my vision blurring, my senses overwhelmed by the relentless pursuit. The world around me became a dizzying blur of green and brown, the jungle's oppressive presence closing in from all sides. A strangled cry escaped my lips as I stumbled once more, my hand instinctively reaching out to break my fall. The ground rushed up to meet me, and for a moment I feared I would never rise again. But instead of the rough bark of a tree, my fingers closed around something smooth and yielding, a silken strand, strong as steel, stretched taut across my path. The sensation was alien, a stark contrast to the natural textures of the jungle. Panic seized me, cold and sharp, as I realized the horrifying truth. My mind raced, trying to comprehend the implications of this new trap. I hadn't escaped the web, merely stumbled into another layer of its intricate design. The realization was a crushing blow, a reminder of the cunning intelligence that lay behind these silken snares. The spiders, those masters of manipulation, had anticipated my every move, weaving their silken traps throughout this verdant labyrinth. Their webs were not just physical barriers, but psychological ones, designed to break the spirit as much as the body. Each strand was a testament to their patience and precision, a chilling reminder that in this jungle I was not the hunter, but the hunted. Desperation lent me strength. I scrambled back from the silken strand, my heart pounding like a war drum against my ribs. Each beat echoed in my ears, a relentless reminder of the danger that lurked just beyond my sight. My eyes darted around, searching for another escape route, but the jungle seemed to press in on all sides. Its leafy embrace transformed into a suffocating cage. The once vibrant greens now felt like the walls of a prison, closing in tighter with every passing second. Then, through the cacophony of my own fear, I heard it. The distant roar of rushing water, a sound both terrifying and exhilarating in its promise of escape. It was a beacon in the chaos, a glimmer of hope in the overwhelming darkness. I changed direction, my body aching with exhaustion, my lungs burning, and surged towards the sound, praying it wasn't just another cruel trick of my terrified mind. Each step was a battle, my legs heavy with fatigue, but the promise of the river drove me forward. The roar grew louder, closer, and then, through a break in the trees, I saw it. A river, its waters churning and swirling, a raging torrent of brown and green, a lifeline in the heart of darkness. The sight filled me with a renewed sense of purpose, a desperate hope that this river could be my salvation. I didn't hesitate, couldn't afford to question my good fortune. Every second counted, and I knew that hesitation could mean the difference between life and death. With a final burst of adrenaline, I plunged into the icy water, the current instantly seizing me in its grasp. The cold was a shock, a jolt that cleared my mind and sharpened my senses. It was a shock to my system, the cold water stealing my breath, but it was also a baptism, a cleansing from the nightmare I had just endured. The river's embrace was harsh, but it was a welcome contrast to the suffocating jungle. The river, a force of nature as unforgiving as the jungle itself, now offered salvation, a chance to escape the web of terror that had ensnared me. As the current carried me away, I felt a glimmer of hope, a belief that perhaps, just perhaps, I might survive this ordeal and find my way back to safety.